If people believe he's an extremist, then why isn't she winning? Why is he winning in the New York Times poll? Why is this race tied nationally? I mean, you and I both know that if it's a tied race nationally, there's a 100% chance he's going to win the Electoral College.
Oh, but
if
see,
what you said were true, why isn't she winning by 20 points?
We don't necessarily know that, Scott, because see, in 2022, the poll showed that Republicans were winning. The 2022 election showed.
This is probably one of my favorite videos to make because every time I see someone who goes on to CNN and speaks from a place of common sense, I think it's entertaining when they melt down over that. And in this situation with Maria Cardona, she throws a fit when Scott Jennings points out the obvious when it comes to the chances that Kamala Harris will be elected. Watch.
Scott, last week, Trump was saying that his plan was he's going to, quote, let her talk. So he's just going to let her talk like he did with Biden in their debate back in June. Is that what you're expecting?
Well, if she does, she's going to have a lot of explaining to do. And that's really what Trump has to do as part of his strategy. Try to let her unwind all of her past positions that she ran on before and let her unwind on all the things she helped Joe Biden do, which, of course, caused the American people to sour on this administration. Look, it's a change election. And so if you're Trump and you're looking at some of the recent polling, like in the New York Times, you're already seen as the change agent. The goal of this debate is for people to turn off the TV and say, yep, I want change, and Trump represents that change that I need on the economy, on immigration, or whatever your most important issue is. Those will be the top two that he should be focused on. So it's really staying focused on that core mission. She's more of the same, I'm change, and however he gets from A to B, that's the strategy he needs to go for.
Yeah, Scott Jennings is dead on about that. We've talked about it time and time again. Policy over personality. As long as he turns it onto her, he would be good to go. And what I mean by that is every time they're going to ask him a question, I don't even care if he answers the question. He should just direct the question to her. For an example, if they say, well, you know, you blocked the border bill this year, former President Trump, what is your response to people who don't trust you on immigration? I mean, he should just say, well, why would we need a border bill if they just left the border alone? Why don't you guys ask Kamala Harris, why did they roll back all my executive orders? Why did they let over 10 million people cross the border illegally? You know, if he does things like that, I mean, it's going to be over for her, of course. Now, if you guys just pay attention to their faces, and I've been doing this recently where I look at their facial expressions, especially when a Republican comes on, and it's almost like they're being forced to do this to try to act like they're having some type of balance to their production, but it doesn't go well for them, and it's almost as if they can't even take it. But let's continue to see what her response was.
Maria, whether because of muted microphones or not, we did see a far more disciplined Donald Trump in the most recent debate than we had seen previously. If that same Donald Trump shows up, how should Kamala Harris deal with that?
Well, I think what she's doing, and we've heard some reporting on this, is that she is prepping for whatever version of Donald Trump shows up. But you're right, that disciplined, focused Donald Trump might very well show up. Let's remember that this will be his 7th presidential election debate. This is Kamala Harris's first. And so while I believe that she will absolutely have the chance to offer her ideas, a massive and stark contrast with where she wants to take the American people with her administration versus what Donald Trump has done in the 4 years that he was in the Oval Office and what he will do, given that we know the extremism of Project 2025. I still think that this is not going to be a slam dunk for her by any means, and they are prepping for that. Look, you know, we know the various versions of Donald Trump that have shown up. And we know that he will lie. We know that he will do insults, conspiracy theories. You know, he can't focus on one line of inquiry or one line of questioning, one line of answering. And that's what I think his folks are afraid of. But at the same time, for Kamala Harris, it is tough to be there and be somebody who's going to have to fact check every single time. So she's going to have to focus on making sure that she has the opportunity to lay out her vision, not get baited into a back and forth on insults, which we know that he will try. And that's exactly what she's prepping for. But look, he can be crazy, and it is tough to prep for crazy.
You know, as I'm listening to this, I have a question, and I want you guys to put your answer in the comments section below. What do you think Kamala Harris is more stressed out about? Having to debate Donald Trump and try to fact check him according to Maria Cardona here, or that the fact that she has to do this debate with no notes, no teleprompters, and no way to do it scripted? I mean, which one you think stresses her out the most? Put your answer in the comment section. I want to read them. Now, my answer is that she's stressed out for the fact that this is an uncomfortable position that she finds herself in. I mean, the last time she was found in an uncomfortable position, she does not perform very well. We know this, okay? Even a situation like Dana Bash interview, she was uncomfortable. So, well, what I mean is, if she truly was a person who was going to go get this election, this would not be her strategy. Her strategy would not be to hide her and prevent her from doing interviews. The reason why they're doing that is because they know with her and Joe Biden that these are not people you want to have speaking unscripted, okay? If you go back and watch Joe Biden's performance in 2020, you'll scratch your head like, man, how did he get elected? Now, obviously, part of it was because the media did a phenomenal job at painting Donald Trump out to be someone that he is not, of course. And now we have polls that show today that Donald Trump is not as bad as the media makes him out to be. But when you say something like that to someone like her, she seems to take it the wrong way. Watch this.
What he's doing, underscoring that he still believes that that election was stolen. If he does that in the debate, I think that is a wonderful opportunity for the vice president to underscore just how extremist Donald Trump is, just how much he lies, just how much the American people deserve much better. One of the key things that was a takeaway for me in the CNN poll was that the vast majority of Americans already believe that Donald Trump's policies are way too extremist, and that it's the vice president's policies that are much more mainstream and in line with what the majority of the American people value and believe. That is what she needs to continue to focus on, and how her policies will match that.
Maria Cardona, Scott Jennings, we have to leave the conversation there. Appreciate you both.
If that were true, if people believe he's an extremist, then why isn't she winning? Why is he winning in the New York Times poll? Why is this race tied nationally? I mean, you and I both know that if it's a tied race nationally, there's a 100% chance he's going to win the Electoral College.
Oh, but
see, we
don't necessarily know that, Scott, because see, in 2022, the poll showed that Republicans were winning. The 2022 election showed that Republicans were winning, and there was going to be a massive red wave. There was no red wave because after Roe v. Wade, the polls are underreporting and they are not showing this massive mobilization of women and men that believe that women should have bodily autonomy, that believe that our democracy should be protected, that believe that a commander-in-chief should not be a liar-in-chief and should not be a conspiracist-in-chief. No, see, you said that to me the other day on air. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that women can go into a polling booth with more than one thought in their head, Scott. They can tell a pollster that the economy is their number one issue while they go into the polling booth and think to themselves, because I've heard them say this to me, you know what? The economy will come back. And I know that Vice President Kamala Harris is working to make sure that economy comes back. But Republicans want to steal my bodily autonomy and the right for me to make decisions about my own body and my family. And I don't want to grow up. I don't want my kids to grow up. I don't want to raise my daughter in a country where she's going to have less rights than I did. That is a hugely potential, potent issue, Scott, that Republicans don't understand. They're not counting on it. Donald Trump knows that, and he's afraid of it, and all of you all should be afraid of it. That I think is not showing up in the polls.
Scott, now we have to leave the conversation there. Scott, but we look forward to having you both on.
Okay, so there was a lot there. I mean, she threw up on herself pretty much. So let's just take one point at a time. The first point that she's making is that Republicans are sleeping on the fact that there is going to be this uprising of women who will vote in this election coming up based on the idea of reproductive rights. Now, I do believe that's probably half true, because when you look at the polling, the top three issues are what? Economy, immigration, then abortion. So clearly it is an issue. But is it the most important issue? No, it's not. the economy is. Because no matter what party you affiliate with, everyone feels the economy, but not everybody feels abortion. So, I don't really give her any credibility on that one. And the second thing is that Scott Jennings said was, if Donald Trump was an extremist, why is he winning? That's a phenomenal point. And this is the bell I've been ringing for so long now. Let's go back and remember the last 4 years. And after everything that has happened to Donald Trump, why is he polling higher than he's ever polled? Why is that? Americans are just fed up and they're seeing through the BS. I think the Democrats made a fatal error here. I think they went after Donald Trump in the wrong way. I think they should have just left him alone. If they had left him alone, I'm not too sure he would be running, to be honest with you guys. But I think when they threw all those cases at him and they kept trying to smear him, they made America desensitized to that rhetoric. You cannot just say Trump is a threat to democracy and think that's going to get votes. It isn't anymore because people see right through that. And I think the other problem that Maria is having here is she's hoping Kamala Harris is someone that she really is not. I don't believe that Kamala Harris is this fighter and she's going to embarrass Trump and she's going to go out there and get this election. I just don't see that. I could be wrong because anything is possible, but I have yet to see anything that makes me believe that. And that's my mindset. What's yours? What do you guys think about this exchange between Scott Jennings and Maria Cardona? What do you think about the points that he made, especially when it comes to the polls? I want to hear what your answers are and more in the comment section below. Thank you for checking out the video today. Stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.